Welcome back, deaf and white people. Today, we are going to touch on something that, well, I've seen other people touch on in other areas like TikTok and Instagram and things like that, and that is capitalism being modern day slavery.
Yeah, so we were talking about this earlier. One way that capitalism is modern day slavery is you don't really get a choice. Like, you have to have a smartphone now. Like, there's really no way to operate in this world without a smartphone anymore. But then with the updates, you don't get a chance.
Or a choice.
You don't get a choice. You don't get a chance to say, I don't want it. You don't get a choice in the matter. It's just, this is the update, you're going to take it. This is the way your phone's going to operate now.
Yeah, we all know that when they do updates, there's certain programs in it to make your phone run slower so that you eventually get another.
Yes, because they don't want you to keep the same old phone. They want you to continuously upgrade because that's how they make their money.
So you have no choice in life. You either update your phone or it's not going to work. And then by updating it, you actually reduce the value or reduce the performance of it.
And then because
we now live in an age of consumerism, you're forced to, get a new phone because this one's not performing the way it used to.
So you have to work hard to buy a new phone that you don't necessarily want because the updates that you didn't necessarily want made it run slower than it used to run because they want you to go out and buy a new phone. So you have to go work so you can buy a new phone.
Not just a new phone, but everything that's made these days is made too fair.
Yes.
Because from a business standpoint, you don't really want things that last forever because once everybody has a product that lasts forever, but yes, from a business standpoint, you want things to fail. But having things last forever is not like once everybody has it, like your revenue's gone. Nobody's buying it anymore.
Yeah, things used to be made to last, and then you used to make, like that was how you built your reputation as a company, is by building things that lasted. Our grandparents had furniture that had been passed down for generations because that's how things used to be made. You used to have this big good business to make things that last. But then somewhere along the way, they realized, well, if you make things that fail, if you make things that break, if you make things that need to be replaced often, then you're constantly having them come back to the store to buy more, which creates more money for the company that's selling the product, makes more money for the company selling the product.
Well, say without any fucking upgrades and shit to like somewhere along the line your product changes. It has to change to stay fresh.
Yeah. So we get caught in the circle of like
we end up with the whole Coke versus Coke Classic, where Coke tried to change up Coke, other than Coke and Diet Coke. And did like a Coke Classic or something. It was just pure sugar.
Yeah.
Or yeah.
Or if you want to really go to Coke Classic, then it would have cocaine in it.
But
because Coke used to have that booger sugar.
Now, also, if you're forced into a job, and then so that you can have a roof over your head and food in your stomach, or else you don't, there's no choice in the matter. I mean, people will say, well, what about welfare programs and things like that? I mean,
in most places you have to work to qualify for welfare, especially long term, and welfare doesn't even meet the bare necessities.
Yeah, the programs that are out there that could possibly help you are as bare minimum as possible.
Food stamps for a family of four doesn't actually feed a family of four.
And then, yes, the things that were given, the choices of things that were given to buy, other than just like electronics and other things like that, but food. Food has its priorities. The freshest of everything always goes to the richer parts of town.
I mean, in certain places there are food deserts where you can't even get fresh food. You can't get fresh fruit, fresh vegetables, fresh bread. It's all preserved and has all these different additives in it. And don't get me wrong, like I'm not one of those people who fear mongers about, additives. Additives aren't good for us, but like in moderation, they're not going to kill us. Like I'm not one of those people who, really. Bananas are GMOs. If you've ever eaten a banana, you've eaten a fucking GMO. It was a genetically modified organism.
An apple, corn.
Yeah, corn didn't used to be as big. It didn't used to be as sweet. Apples aren't normally as big. They don't stay ripe as long.
Yeah. they're generally more targeted. But yeah, no, fruit in general is not, and it's, once it was state, all fruits are GMOs.
Most of the food that we eat is been genetically modified in some way, because genetic modification can be as simple as like crossbreeding.
Okay. But, so if we're forced into in labor so that we can get a house that's not provided for that labor, also food that's not provided for that labor, you give us pieces of paper and go, that's the blood to you. And then you constantly change how that piece of paper values, or you put it in a system that allows people to circumvent that and invent new ways that basically your imagination has created to form an economy. Because the fucking dollar, the $100 bill, the dollar bill, the $5 bill, it's all the same material, just got a different printing on it. So it has no real intrinsic value.
I mean, that's true.
I mean, it used to be barter system, but it was things that people valued. Hey, I've got an abundance of, moose meat this season.
Moose meat?
Fuck, I don't know. And I see you guys have an abundance of vegetables. Want to trade? Absolutely.
You have moose meat, I have vegetables. You need vegetables, I need moose meat. Well, I don't know that I would eat a moose.
I would.
I mean, I guess push comes to shove, I would eat a moose, but I'm not going out trying to eat moose.
Moose and squirrel.
I'm not eating squirrel either.
But somewhere along the line, someone decided that it would be a good idea to make things shiny was valuable. Which, once again, they have no intrinsic value. They're just shiny rocks. I mean, it has value in a sense once it can, benefit all mankind, like when you're using gold for heat shields on satellites so you can discover new things out there. Things like that, but putting a piece of gold on your finger, the fuck does that do?
Shows that you have money.
Shows that you have a fucking high level of vanity.
Well, diamonds are the perfect example of that, because diamonds, it used to be, diamonds are worth a lot of money because they're rare.
Don't find out they're not.
They're not rare, now we can grow them in labs.
Yeah.
So now they're really not fucking rare.
And also, the best use for a diamond
Is to cut,
is cut.
but we don't use them to cut.
Now, I mean,
Well, we do use them to cut.
well, we also use them in lenses and things like that.
Yeah.
So,
But we also just use them to make ourselves look pretty.
yeah.
Which I'll be the first to admit, I do have a wedding band, and a wedding and an engagement ring, but they're not precious metals or precious gemstones because I don't see the purpose. I don't think our love is any more enduring because you gave me a, $10,000 rock.
Yeah, no, it does make sense. We put more value on things because of trivial wants and desires.
Which is why, when it came time for you and I to get married, we put a lot of the money that we spend on the wedding into the experience and how, in the things that were important to us, as opposed to the things that weren't important to us, a big rock to go on my finger. Because I don't need a big rock to go on my finger. All it's going to do is get me mugged. I personally don't want to be mugged. So I'm not going to wear, a bunch of flashy jewelry. Also, flashy jewelry just isn't my style.
But, so, forced to use your labor for your profit without you providing me any kind of food or shelter or means to continue to do the labor other than some pieces of paper that you dictate how valuable they are at any given moment. Also, you control the prices of the things that these little pieces of paper buy. So, yeah, yes, man.
I don't think that it's the same as slavery, chattel slavery, but I do think that capitalism is a form of indentured servitude. It creates indentured servitude. I don't work because I happen to like my job for the most part. I don't work because I want to work. I don't work because I want to contribute to society, although I do. I work because I have to in order to live. I have to work in order to have a house and a car that'll get me to and from, because we don't live in walkable cities. Most of our cities in this country aren't walkable. I work because I need food. I work because I've got animals that need food and water and medicine. I need food and water and medicine, and it's not that I have like something that I want to give to mankind, which I do wish, and I know that this is a TV show, and therefore, like, obviously it's not going to be the way it is in the TV show. But I think the greatest explanation for like a utopian society was actually in the Orville, when she talks about how like they built, like what their currency is their reputation. Like they give back to society and they do good things and they do the right thing because they built up their reputation, and that's their currency. Is, the better you are as a person, the more you're going to be able to be afforded, nice things, because they don't have to have money to buy clothes and housing. All those things are now just like generated from a matter generator. You don't need money for housing. You don't need money for clothes. You don't need money for food. All of these things are just generated now through the magic of science, because science, not properly understood, is magic. So I think that would be a really great way to live if we had the means, would be if you could just live on your reputation, where you did the things that you wanted to do and contributed to society in the way that you wanted to contribute to society, because they were the right thing to do, they were a good thing to do, it's what you wanted to do.
But you wouldn't have, capitalism.
Exactly, and I don't think we need capitalism. I don't think we need...
But what about all those people in power that would lose their empires and stuff? We gotta think about that.
Fuck them. Fuck them. Fuck them all.
Shouldn't have bought that 15th yacht.
I mean... Who needs a 15th yacht? Who needs a yacht?
I would mind a yacht.
I wouldn't mind a yacht, but I don't need a yacht. And if me having a yacht means that other people in this world are going to be paid less than a living wage, then I don't want a yacht. Like, we've talked about this a lot, like what we would do if we won the lottery. And,
Broke in no time.
well, a lot of the things that we would do would be giving back to society or creating jobs with the money that we had. Because we would talk about how we would want to build, the podcast and things like that, and hire professionals to help us with it. And
We just contributed to slavery.
but we would, only because we have to. That's the system that we were born into, and that's the only system that is currently workable, because we are two people, and we can't change the system alone. We need people with us who are willing to change the system in order for the system to change. I don't know, wouldn't you like to live in the world of the Oracle?
I mean, yeah, but
Like, what would your utopian society look like?
it would be probably a world where basically everybody has their own, like, robot that is linked to them. That can't be like all of a sudden somebody writes a code and the robots rise up and everything, but it's basically, and the robots are there to just, make sure that, well, not make sure, but to help you fucking be a better person.
How so?
Like, so, well, they would basically be an assistant, and I know some people will, like, with all technology, fucking abuse the shit out of it, but something always there to, in case you need assistance, or you need to know something, or you're in a fucking bind, is a robot. You're doing, like, I'm here to help.
And that's your utopian society?
Yeah, because then I believe the robots and the people could then, hey, so help me figure out this. How do I build this? Can you look on, our human knowledge and help me lay out how to build this with what the tools I have? And if I can't, how do we build the tools? Or, you're not feeling well. Oh, it seems like you have high blood pressure or something. I don't know. Don't forget to take pills. But I think if robots and humans can fucking learn to live in harmony, I think that'd be the best chance for humanity to survive.
I definitely think that, like, humans and robots cohabitating is going to be necessary for our future. Like, I think that there's no way to get around that. The fact that we're going to have robots and we're going to have AI. We have robots and we have AI, which is insane to think about, because you and I grew up in a world where neither of these things were really...
Yeah, you saw them in movies and shit.
You saw it in movies. And then the way technology has just blown up in our lifetime is fucking insane. But so I think, yeah, we're going to need to live, like, to cohabitate with AI and cohabitate with robots, and I don't think we will. I don't think we're going to get to that utopia.
Not in the beginning, no.
I think there's going to be a lot of turmoil, and I think we're going to end up turning AI against us because I think humanity is doomed.
Yeah, I don't think so. Also, they gotta make sure, like,
We made Gronk into a racist Nazi.
well, well, yeah, Elon was like, I don't want him to sound like that. Change his programming.
He was too woke. Gronk was too awake.
I think if you give AI this kind of neutral personality, but let it be adaptive to its linked human, so that it can adjust to.
Yeah, but then you have like bad humans who are going to create bad robots.
Not necessarily. That robot can then, because the human's behavior is being bad, can then do things to help that behavior not be bad. The robot will balance it out.
Let's say there's a serial killer, and then their robot is going to help them not be a serial killer.
But
See, I don't see how that's going to work.
by, using psychology on them to be like, no, you really don't do this.
I don't see how that's going to work because serial killing is considered to be like antisocial personality disorder, which is something that most serial killers would probably have. Is not all serial killers, but most. Is not something that is considered to be curable or really all that treatable. And someone who's gone so far, because I'm not saying that all people with ASPD are serial killers. I'm not saying that at all. Don't come at me, bro. But I think that when you've gone so far as to become a serial killer, unless you're Dexter, that's kind of like a point of no return as far as your humanity goes. So I think you're just going to create an evil robot.
We shall call him Bender.
We shall call him Bender. I don't know, my perfect world is like, it's very close to the Orville, where there's, humankind and all of the populations, but where everyone is influenced by the Orville, not just the populations that, like, when the whole world, the whole universe, has gotten to the point that humanity has gotten to in the Orville, I think that's fucking utopia.
Yeah, aliens won that.
When all the aliens and all the AI and all the robots and all of humanity and all of the living creatures and the sentient creatures are like have had enough coffee or awake enough that there's no hunger, there's no want, there's no need, there is just life. When you don't want for things anymore, like you don't, you're not going hungry anymore. There's not people who are homeless anymore. Like everyone's needs are taken care of. Like I think that's the goal, is to have everyone in this place of just fucking harmony. And I don't think we're going to get there anytime soon. I think it's going to be fucking eons before we get there. You're making a face. Like that's some hippy dippy shit. You're making a face like that's some hippy dippy shit. Well, I just think that would be a perfect world where we could. And with that, that's all we've got for you today. Be sure to like us on all the podcast places. We're also all over social media.